Alright, I really need to clear my head because I'm really far gone. Way far gone. And you, okay. So, when you read a book, you have that internal voice inside of your head where you're processing all the language of what's in front of you. So there's an internal voice inside your head all the time. It's telling you things, processing information around you. It's used for self-reflection, all different types of things. And then understanding that voice is, I guess, what they call like metacognition. Understanding how you learn and how you perceive the world and everything like that. So imagine if that voice became completely overcome with a small list of extreme expressions of emotions so severe that it was impossible to rely on it for anything else. It's like, imagine if the person who was reading you a book kept getting distracted and kept screaming about something that they were going through in their own personal life, and you're sitting there listening like, what the hell, like, can you get back to the book, please? That is the experience that I have. And this is something that has kind of arisen in a lot of different ways, for a lot of different reasons, from a lot of different experiences. I have a specific memory from when I was 15, 16. We were doing some kind of a writing test. And I was in high school at the time. And I was in like language arts class or something. I'm pretty sure I even remember like going to like a different class for the test or something like that. And we had the prompt in front of us. I had a pencil. I had the book in front of me. I was gonna write it. And I sat there staring at the paper, and the entire test window came and went. I was staring at the prompt. I was staring at the whole test, but the ability to read the prompt, understand it, think of a conclusion, and then put those thoughts back into the actions of moving my pencil to write language. It felt impossible in that moment. And I remember just thinking, like, what the hell? Why? And the truth is that it was because I had something else in my mind. Like I said, that reader was just screaming, ranting, and raving about something else. Specifics of what it was at this point, my memory is super fried, which is another sign of my declining intelligence. But the reader wouldn't read, and all they would do is scream about something else. So over time, to force myself to complete anything, to literally do anything, it's like I basically just like kidnapped and duct taped that reader and threw him in the trunk. And now it's complete silence. Now I'm not processing anything, but I'm able to function. But then there goes, the ability of something as important as like my self-reflection, my ability to look at myself and say I did this because of that, and that has to change because that is making me do this, and so on and so forth. Which I don't like that at all, you know. But it's like that that process has just been completely hijacked by that. So I just had to turn it off so that I can continue to function. But I feel like I'm suffocating myself for basic things to get through basic life. And I don't like really any of it at all. And I'd like to, because I understand that a start is to just express it. But on the other hand, there is a limit that the audience that I hope for has, and really listening to the expression of everything that the reader is screaming and shouting about. And as you get older, you really understand that. And it's not because people snap at you. It's not because, you know, anybody, at least, you know, for people my age right now, nobody says anything. You know, nobody articulates much of anything. It's you just stop hearing from people. You know, you just kind of become a memory, and you know, nobody articulates any kind of problem with you, and probably because they don't have a problem with you, probably because they do understand that something's going on there, and you know what, I'm just not the right person for that, and that's fine. You know, that is what it is. But it does create an existence where like what do I do with all this? What do I do with all this everything? And you know, one of the conclusions that I did come to was that that's what the art was for. But that also does mean that this is never going to be anything that is you know, sellable or you know, I don't know, what you want to call it, because I've just worn it on my face for so long when I was doing this music thing that I don't really have any other lane for it. And I've wanted to branch out. I've wanted to, you know, make the music into something else. You can see it with some of my attempts for some of the things that I've done over the last 2 years, but it hasn't worked. It hasn't happened. And maybe it might still, you know. Keep in mind, this is what you're experiencing right now, what you're seeing, and this is me talking to me. This is just a moment, okay? I'm trying to capture a moment of frustration, because oftentimes something else that really bothers me is like there's just this perception of like, oh, all right, here he goes again. Like, yeah, he's just always gonna be like this. And it's like, help me out to get through these moments. I'm gonna be good, and I'll come back, and I could even do you the favor back. You know, what do you want from me? Because there's just such an intense debating on how much to say. There's an intense psychosexual dark part of life that I have been forced to experience. You know, it's not like I wanted this to be a part of my life, you know. But that is what I've experienced in my life. Whether it be you know, directly to myself, or, you know, everybody around me. Not even everybody around me, like just specific people that you don't want that to happen to. And it's one of those things where my experience is not really unique. You know, my experience is not you know, particularly bad, particularly special, particularly anything. This is a process of life overall. What I dislike is that it's expected that you just are quietly accepting and do nothing. Or basically, it's either you immediately do something about it and you're completely successful and it's eradicated, or you're completely silent about it. And there's no place to just, this is happening, what next? Or just, you just scream for a second because that's how it feels. And all of that's to say that I can't read. I can't read, especially not how I used to. And that is a narrative that you see a lot amongst like that certain type of people, where it's this whole thing where, yeah, I used to read a lot as a kid, now I can't read no more, and this and this, and it's all right. Well, maybe most of those books are garbage and whatever, but this is something that's genuinely affecting my life. Like, I can't read. I can't pick up a book, take in the language, take in everything like that, because that's another thing as well, is that if you ever want to I don't say heal. I even, like, there's so much of this language that has been so, people use it for all this different stuff now that I don't even like hearing this type of language. But the way that you maintain your sanity after experiencing certain things is there's just no going back. You will never ever become somebody that you were before something happened. Never. It's never going to happen. So the only way out is you've been forced forward. Now you got to keep going forward, because you're not allowed to stay there anymore, and you can't go back. So there's just literally nowhere but out of there through it. And the way that you do that is just by continuing to learn and continuing to build all these different neural pathways in your head and everything like that. Because one of the lingering effects from experiencing certain things is that the world feels like a prison. It feels suffocating. It feels like it is so small, and you were never strong enough to leave it to begin with, and you didn't deserve being out of this to begin with, and you don't really belong anywhere else. As a matter of fact, you don't belong here, but you're going to be stuck here. It's just a lot of feelings like that. And the only way that you get out of that is by, okay, you've been forced to see that the world isn't what you hoped that it would be. So now you just have to keep learning, and you have to keep pushing through, because you've been forced to learn something the worst possible way, and now you just have to keep going. And how do you do that? You read, you learn, you understand. But the voice, that I was relying on to relay it to me, it doesn't stop.